Hi guys, so we're talking more about simplifying radicals today, and honestly, there's really not much else to talk about besides what we said yesterday. I'm really just making this video just to throw a couple more examples at you, because I know this is a brand new concept. I know it's probably weird for a lot of some people, so I just wanted to do something else really quick, just to make sure we really had a good handle on things. So we're just kind of diving right in. And like I said, there's nothing new, so the process is the exact same that we saw yesterday. We're looking at 392, and I don't know if anybody used this, but I have my perfect squares list, and the way that makes the most sense to me is to place 392 in between two perfect squares. Where would it fall in this list? Well, 392 is between 361 and 400. So the question that we're actually answering here is, what's the smallest perfect square that's less than 392? And the reason why we're doing this placement is because the answer to that question is 361. It's the biggest perfect square that's smaller than 392. So we're going to start with our calculators, put that here, and do 392 divided by 361. All right, I didn't think that was going to work. But from there, we're going to go up this list until we find a perfect square that 392 is divisible by. So we're just going to kind of do that. I have a feeling it might be a while before we get there. Oh, okay. 196. So that means the square root of 392 breaks down into the square root of 196 and the square root of 2. What is the square root of 196? It's 14. And the square root of 2, as we saw yesterday, is going to be a horrible decimal, so we're going to leave it as the square root of 2. And that's your final answer. Same kind of thing as yesterday. I recommend starting with the bigger numbers on the list and going down, because then you can simplify this all in one go. All right, if you start from the smaller numbers and work your way up, you will get there eventually. It'll just be a lot more steps. You know what I mean? So we'll just keep going with this. 252 falls in between 225 and 256. So the biggest perfect square that's smaller than 252 is 225. So that's where we're going to start in the calculators. Again, if you know that like 252 won't be divisible by 225, you don't have to actually sit there and do it. But, it just helps. I'm doing it for consistency's sake. Didn't think this was going to take this long. There we go. 36. So the square root of 252 breaks down into the square root of 36 and the square root of 7. The perfect square between the two is 36. It's 6. And as we know, 7 isn't a perfect square. It can't be broken down anymore. So we're going to leave it as the square root of 7. And then we're done with the problem. Okay. 112. Where would it go in this list? It's going to go in between 100 and 121. So the biggest perfect square that's smaller than 112 is 100. So that's where we're going to start. And like I said, I'm starting with 100 for the sake of consistency. I know that 112 isn't divisible by 100, just to show you that plugging and chugging business. Oops. All right, so we got it. 16 and 7. So the square root of 112 breaks down into the square root of 16 and the square root of 7. Again, we're going to leave square root of 7 as is, but 16 is your perfect square. the square root of 16 is 4. So your final answer is 4 root 7. And I think this is going to be the last one. So real quick, 150 would go in between 144 and 169. So the biggest perfect square that's smaller than 150 is 144. I think I already know what number is going to work here, but again, just for the sake of consistency, we're going to go through the whole list. Yeah, 25. All right. The square root of 150 breaks down into the square root of 25 and the square root of 6. The square root of 25 is 5, and 6 can't be broken down anymore. It's not necessarily a prime number, but if you think about the factors of 6, they're 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. Aside from 1, none of the others are perfect squares, and breaking 6 down into 1 and 6 isn't going to change anything. So we're going to leave it, as 5 root 6. And we're done. All right, so like I said, nothing new. Same kind of concept as yesterday, so you're probably going to see the same sort of problems for homework tonight. It's probably going to look really similar, but just means we're that much closer to spring break. I know those two statements weren't really connected. But whatever, same thing as usual. Hope you guys are doing okay out there. I'll talk to you guys next time.